And they're from a company called Brandboom. And I'm going to let them explain what Brandboom is, but it's been around for 10 years. So love to hear your history and how things are changing, because certainly a B2B business that was founded 10 years ago, you got to be pretty good to make it 10 years. That's pretty impressive. So I'm going to let you get going, and I'm going to play with the video and turn mine off so you can present.
Okay. Thank you for that. So I'm going to start. My name is Mark from Brandboom. I'm head of business development, and I look after our sales support and partnerships and marketing in the business. Carl, who's with me, is one of our account managers, and he's been working with me on this with the Accessories Council and some of the brands that are already on the Accessories Council. And we spoke to you guys about teaming up and just showing you what we can do, as well as today, I guess, we wanted to talk about discovering new B2B channels, which is something that a lot of people use our service for. So I will talk a little bit about us, but I just prepared a presentation here, just talking generally. You guys would have seen a lot of this symbol in the last few months, and it's been a struggle on many fronts. Business-wise, as we know, there are a lot of numbers going around. 93% drop in economic profit, varying numbers in the high 70s and 80s in the fashion industry. Accessories maybe a little bit better than that, of things going down, and it's been tough, and down in other ways as well. On personal levels, not being able to see different family members or different people that you work with, it's really just a struggle. So, I think we're tired of seeing this down and negative arrow, and we want to try and change things. So, the positive, which there are some, is that obviously we have a vaccine that's coming that will help. It's not a cure, but it will help certain things. But on a more relevant side, online sales are up. They're up by between the 10s and 20% around the industry. Probably a little bit more in areas. I think I've got video going as well now. Yay! Okay, looks like video's going. Hi. I think in other regions, especially Asia, that's growing and happening a lot faster. But in the US, it is in that sort of range, and that's great. And we hope to have recovery at the earliest back to what it was pre-pandemic around the end of 2021 to sometime at the latest, early 2023, as long as things keep going upward. But yeah, online sales are up, and that is really, really important, and we'll discuss that even more later, because that's what we've seen in our business. Obviously, when the pandemic first started, there was some concern, and there were a few people downgrading and things like that. However, as of May onwards, we've actually seen really improving subscription rates, as well as in our marketplace, which I'll talk to you about later. We've seen some exponential growth, which is fantastic for this time. So I'll talk a little bit about that. So on that sort of tip there, we hear a lot about digital, online and digital, and there's a lot. Digital is, there are lots of marketplaces, a lot of technologies, lots of people selling you the latest widget, telling you this will do this and be the greatest thing ever. But as Karen rightly said, we have been around for 10 years. The business has been here for 10 years, and we initially started as a line sheet software. Obviously, we know that the historic way of doing that was archaic and very inflexible, and we digitized that process, and it's been great for a lot of the brands and a lot of the showrooms and our customers that use our service. And over time, over the last 10 years, we've added more features, added more things that customers are asking for. So today any brand can come in and effectively manage their business through, or at least their wholesale business through our platform. So that involves taking orders, managing inventory, managing your customers, finding new customers, managing payments. And we have a suite of features that Carl will talk a little bit more about, but we connect to various ERPs. We have our API, which is open, that allows other technologies to connect with us. So it's become a lot more advanced. And I think one of the main things is that we like to have customer first. And sometimes we may be a little bit slower than competitors to launch particular features or particular products, but we really do take focus on the customer experience. Is this the best thing for the customer, or are there better ways at doing this to get an even better effort within the software? And I think our customers appreciate that. And that's something, like I said, we like to focus on. Digital, it's the future of travel and safety and convenience. By no means do I think that physical and in-person purchasing and selling is going to go away. I think it's really, really important to continue that process. However, this is the time that we're in, and people are changing their processes and saying, well, do we really need to do the 10 visits a year to Europe that we used to? Sure, traveling is nice, and I think it's still very relevant, but perhaps there are better ways of doing things. So I think our platform definitely facilitates that. And I want to stress, it's not a replacement. We work with brands, we work with buyers, and we work with trade show and associations such as the Accessories Council, and we say to all these people, it's not a replacement, but it is something that is a very much complementary tool, which I think works really well. So that's a little bit of the background of the business. We serve over 3,500 paying customers at the moment, and we have up to 10,000 or so free customers. We can talk a little bit more about plans later, but yeah, we do have quite a large customer base, and we served over 500,000, if not more, buyers over the last 10 years. So a lot of people have used our platform and have touched our platform. And something else that we pride ourselves on is the fact that, especially for buyers, we're very transparent. We don't slap the Brandboom logo everywhere and make it all about us and require them to, they can register if they want more access to certain things, but if they want to just make a quick purchase from you, it requires very, very little information apart from, what you guys require in terms of, addresses and bank details and things like that. So we pride ourselves on that, and we make it easier, really, really easy for buyers to purchase on our platform. And I think that's something that works well. So let me touch on the first thing, which is the platform. Like I said, B2B platform, a line sheet tool. It's a digital lookbook. You can add videos, you can add, nice images, descriptions of your brand, design it the way you want, and people use it as a lookbook that people can order from. I've touched on managing customers and inventory. It's used to capture purchase orders, invoicing and payments if you want. And I think something that we do very well is that we're sales rep and showroom friendly. So with us, depending on the plan that you're on, we treat your brands as, you can have unlimited brands within your account. We focus on the seats, so it's one user per seat, and you can have as many brands as you want to focus on. So reps and agents who work externally, what we call outside reps, they love us because they could work with one brand here and another brand here, and they can have one subscription with us, and they can work with multiple brands at one time, and it's totally fine and very easy to do. And it's great because the information is siloed, so that the sales agent would have their own customers and they can protect those, and the brand has their own customers and their own systems, and they can protect those where it makes sense. Yeah, as far as you being a showroom or you being a brand, it's very, very flexible to have multiple users who join for short terms and longer terms, and keep management of all that. So that's really what the platform sort of does, you know, at a very high level. I wanted to also note that our subscriptions are actually up from pre-pandemic as well. So you know, a lot of people are trusting us to help their businesses, which is great. And they're seeing this as a very integral part of their future moving forward. So this is a very, very quick view of how the line sheets look. Honestly, and I say this in a lot of conversations that I have with customers, you would have seen our competitors, you know who they are. We more or less do the same thing. All of us have, you know, roughly the same technology. We just, you know, skin it a different way. We might have a different button, you know, that does something very different, but effectively all our platforms do the same thing. And we like to think that we do it well and in customer centric and customer focused ways. But ultimately the technology behind it is more or less the same. Our pricing is very, very competitive. That's where we do think we have an advantage. And as I said earlier, we do have a free plan so that you can actually come in, try the service, see how you go, ask our account managers like Carl questions on how to set up and how to do things. So yeah, we do have that flexibility. The second thing, and I think one of our big advantages, is our marketplace. We call this Connect. Connect has been around for, I want to say 2 to 3 years, and was in beta for about 1.5 years of that. And finally, in about May or June 2019, we launched it full time. Connect is a testament to the way that we looked at things like marketplaces and tried to help people with it, but do it a different way to both improve your experience as the seller and also the experience of the buyer. So we do this by using AI, and AI is used on so many things nowadays, and it's, you know, a buzzword. But what I can tell you that is the way that we collect this data is on buyer purchase history and seller selling history, and we connect buyers and sellers using that information to say, hey, look, we think you'd be a great fit for this person. This person seems to be browsing a lot of similar content to yours, so we think that you as a seller would be a great fit for this buyer. We make those introductions, and we also don't charge a commission. Now, I'll put an asterisk on that because we do charge an introduction fee. So when, let's just say, you as a seller get introduced to a buyer and they make their first order with you, we charge a small fee. It's either $40 or $50, depending on the plan that you're on. And that creates the introduction between the two of you, and the order can, you know, be fulfilled on your end. Any additional sales that you have with that particular buyer will not incur any commission fees. So it's almost like a marketing fee between the two of you, and it's been, you know, a different way of looking at lead acquisition and, you know, finding new buyers on your end. It provides timely and accurate matches, so it kind of detects in certain ways that, you know, this particular buyer is looking for new things they haven't purchased in a while. It detects that you haven't made sales in a little while to a particular zone or a particular area, and recommends the right times, and can be expanded upon with our new Reconnect feature, where we do help you with existing customers. You don't have to turn that on, but we just recently turned that on. It's also an alternative revenue source for brands. Especially in this pandemic, we've seen a lot of varying behaviors of usage of this platform. So historically, we created this because we know, look, you've got certain buyers that you work with, you've got great relationships, but potentially, you know, you might not be able to get to a particular region of the country, the northeast part of the United States, and maybe you want to find some new buyers in that area. So therefore, this would be a good way for you to, you know, reach out to a few boutiques in that area, because you don't want to, you know, hire a salesperson, or you just simply, you know, don't have the budget in general to travel there yourself. So people were using it as a great alternative revenue source. Now we've seen that flip in the last, you know, 9 months or so, and people are using it as a primary source of income. There are a lot of contracts, especially with major department stores, that have been cancelled or not or reduced to a point where it's been not beneficial for the actual brands. So, you know, I think a lot of brands have been looking for alternative ways of finding new buyers. And the great thing about this marketplace is that we put the power, I guess, in the brands and the showrooms side. A lot of times you would see that buyers will, you know, kind of look at you on a list of brands that appear on another marketplace somewhere, and they would kind of reach out to you if they think you've got something interesting or they've heard of you perhaps. The problem with that is that, you know, then you don't know who they are, and you don't know really, you know, whether they're going to take your content and sell it somewhere else. And, you know, it becomes very, very tricky in terms of IP and things like that. So a lot of brands don't want to show their content on some of these marketplaces. Whereas in this way, we actually tell you, hey, this is a buyer that's interested. Would you like to send them a presentation? And you can say yes or no. So you can do your research, you can look at that buyer and say, yeah, they look like someone that I'd like to work with, or they're not competing with another, you know, local boutique which I have an agreement with. I'd like to present to them. So you get a little bit more power on your side, or a little bit more vetting capability on your side, and we think that's great. And overall, I want to say that, you know, Connect has been really good for our business and really good for our brands that we work with during COVID, to the point that we're actually, our sales in terms of new sales through Connect, that's not including the additional sales they've had since, we're up by about 120%. So we've more than doubled sales through this last 9-month period, which is great for everyone. You know, our success is based on our brand success. So it's, the more that happens, the better. So, you know, I guess when I showed you this before, this is what I mean. Brandboom Connect sales have more than doubled during the pandemic. Some brands have found over 100 new buyers during this period. So that's not saying that every brand is going to get this sort of success. I think, you know, I've spoken to Lena a fair bit about this back when we were starting to talk with the Accessories Council, and we've made it very clear that some brands won't do well on this platform. You know, you need to be patient with the AI. You need to trust that it's doing its thing and recommend you to the right people, and buyers are viewing your proposals, and you know, it's recommending at the right time. And we've seen the success. It's been proven. But it's just very different because of the way that it works. People aren't used to that. You know, they're hoping for an immediate, oh, can someone search for me? Can someone find me? And we've kind of flipped that and done that a very, you know, different way. So I hope you guys sort of understand that that's something very different about this marketplace that people aren't used to. And Carl knows more than me, because he speaks to customers daily about this, that, you know, it's about being patient and learning about how this sort of works. But yeah, some brands have found over 100, in fact, more than that, new buyers through this period, and that's great. And, you know, if half of those 10, you know, will be repeat buyers, I think it's really, really worth it for them that they've found these connections through our platform. Something I will mention before I do hand over to Carl on some stuff is that from a buyer perspective, it's also a good experience. Now, some buyers in other marketplaces would be used to receiving thousands, you know, hundreds, if not thousands of emails a day. So a brand would look up their details and say, yeah, I'd like to pitch to this particular buyer. They get sent an email and it just gets lost in spam. We've heard that from countless numbers of brands that work with us, saying this is, you know, how do I reach this buyer? It's really, really difficult. So if you do join Brandboom Connect, we have a system called the Biofeed, which Carl will talk about a little bit, and I'll show you also at the very end as well. But basically, the buyer receives 1 email per day, or if the buyer wishes, they can receive it 3 times a week, once a month. It's up to the buyer themselves. And they will receive this digest from Brandboom, which they're used to receiving, and it will list, okay, these brands are wanting to talk to you, click here, and it will show you on their bio feed, you know, all your details and your presentations and things like that. So we found that really, really effective, because it's the message is cutting through. They're getting this Brandboom digest that they're used to working with. They're trusting the recommendations that we're making to them, and they're looking at those recommendations and saying, okay, this is highly tailored to me. This is stuff that I know I've purchased before, or I've looked at before, and that's why we're seeing these increases in buy rates. So I will talk about the Biofeed a little bit later, but I want to pause here and hand over to Carl, and he's going to show you just a couple of things in our platform, just so you can understand, you know, in a little bit more detail what Brandboom is about. So Carl, I'll hand over to you now.
Thank you, Mark. Okay. So now that Mark has finished extolling all the virtues of Brandboom, some of the brands in here might be asking, well, how easy is it to start using the platform? I know some of the brands on this call probably already have some sort of system in place. So thinking about a new platform, I know it can be a little bit challenging, but I just want to go ahead and let you know that it's actually not that bad. I like to break it down to 3 steps. So using Brandboom, the first step would be importing your product library, your seasons, into the Brandboom. And you can do that a couple of different ways. The first way is creating each product manually. So you can go into your Brandboom account and create the products, put in the style ID, the prices, all that stuff. But if you have a lot of products, that becomes tedious. So we actually have 2 other ways. One is through the use of a product import template, and that's just an Excel file that you can fill out and then put it into Brandboom. And if you even put the image URLs at the end of that import file, even the images would get pulled from wherever they're hosted on the internet, and then that would build all the products at once in Brandboom. And then as of a couple of months ago, we added 2 new integrations that would help populate your Brandboom account with your products. And that's our integrations with Apparel Magic and Shopify. So if you decide to integrate your Brandboom account with Shopify and Apparel Magic, you can actually put all the products from like an ERP like Apparel Magic and put it all into Brandboom, or from a store in Shopify and put it all into Brandboom with a click of a button, basically. So getting the products into Brandboom, building the products, step 1 is pretty easy. Now, step 2 of the process is actually creating the different presentations. And creating the different presentations in Brandboom is, I consider that the fun part, because that's where you get to be more creative. And these are just some examples of some of the presentations that some of our brands have done. So you can go heavy on the presentation to make it more like a lookbook in the beginning, with editorial photos, and then at the very bottom you can put the actual products in there. And then since you can do inventory numbers in Brandboom, you can even say how many is left. If it's out of stock, you can allow them for back ordering if you want to. But this is basically the buyer experience. They would check out your different products, create an order. Here's another sample presentation, more towards accessories. So I think most of these examples, they're going with the first top of their presentation, more of a lookbook or a catalog feel, and then the bottom half would be the actual products. And then the actual product section is where the buyers would go ahead and click on the order button and place their orders. So one last one, these are footwear. So you can add any blurb, any sort of text, and like Mark said, videos even, into the presentation. So when you're creating the presentation to give out to your buyers, or for your reps to give out to your buyers, you control the story and you control the tone and the theme of what you're sending out there into the world, I guess. So that's an example. So that's step 2, is creating a presentation. And as you can see, each presentation, we don't have a template per se, because each brand has their own story, their own style, and you can create your presentation to basically mimic, if you want to mimic your website, or if you want something totally different for the wholesale side of your business, you can do that. But along that entire journey, you actually have an account manager to help you, even to bounce ideas off of if you're creating the presentation. So that's kind of my day-to-day, is helping people create the presentations based on what I think works for their brands. And then the third step is actually sharing it with the buyer. And then sharing with a buyer, it's one of three ways. You can turn this presentation into a PDF if you want to, for the buyers who are a little bit more old school and prefer PDF or even paper. And we also had a Brandboom iPad app, which was really, really handy during trade shows when they were happening, physical trade shows or face-to-face meetings with buyers, or when the buyers would go to the showrooms. The Brandboom iPad app is really handy. It basically replaces pen and paper, so you could tap on the products they want, create an order just by tapping a few tiles on the Brandboom iPad app. But the third way is the online link of the presentation. Because as you can see, you could just email this link to a buyer, and I mean, if they wanted to, they can click on your name and get your contact information, but most of the information should be here already. So if they were to click on a product, they would be able to see all the details and then even place an order off of it. So all you really would need is basically look at the order that was placed, confirm it with the buyer saying, I will fill this order, and then the invoicing process can happen after that. And the invoicing process, like Mark alluded to earlier, it can happen inside of Brandboom or outside of Brandboom. It's up to you. But we do have that invoicing and payment processing facility built into the Brandboom. We're integrated with both PayPal and Stripe. So you're able to collect payments and even deposits on the ordering side of Brandboom. But yeah, that's steps 1, 2, 3. Import the products into Brandboom. And then second is create the presentation. And then the third step is sharing it. I know I make it sound really easy and not so complex, but it's basically just 3 big steps. And after that, you obviously have the account manager to help you out in any of that process 1, 2, 3. And even after that, to maybe conduct audits or business reviews of your brand or your account in Brandboom to make sure everything is working as it should be. And yeah, that's my role here in Brandboom, is one of your account managers. Let me stop this.
Yep. Okay. Well, thank you. I've already started to get questions. So I want to encourage everyone to put your questions into the text area, and I'm just going to fire them off as they come in. So hang with me. So the first question I have is, how do you vet the buyers that join? What's the process for the buyers?
Mark, you're muted.
Sorry, my fault there. So in terms of vetting buyers, there are 2 ways that we do this. So the first we call organic buyers. So these are the people that you guys, if I'm called Brand A and Brand A works with John Smith at Macy's.com, and it's a buyer that they work with on a very regular basis, and they've been working with them for 10 years, you've already vetted them. So that's your buyer that you bring in. John wouldn't get access to anything else in the platform apart from whatever other brands may necessarily send them or whatever. But effectively, because you're sending John this link, you trust them, so we don't do any further vetting. If you send them a link like of the line sheet that Carl just showed you, they would have to enter their email address. That's the only thing we require, so that they can view your line sheet. And then in your visitors tab, you'll see that John has visited your line sheet. So in that instance, we don't see any need to vet that person because you've already got a relationship with that person. So the second is for people who join the Connect platform. We absolutely do vet them. We ask for business ID numbers, proof of their address or shop location, or if it's online, some proof of how long they've been doing their business. Quite often, a lot of people get I wouldn't say rejected, but they get a pause on their application until we can verify further information. They send us a business certificate, or they send us more proof of what they're doing. This is something that we have actually started in terms of Connect about a year ago, and it's been quite successful. Of course, we've got some legacy users in there who had less vetting. However, we still did have minimums for them, which is these, of course, are just the previous users of Connect. They would have had to have made a few purchases on the Brandboom, so verified, shipped, ordered, that sort of thing, instead of just a random person signing up for access. So we do vet in terms of those minimum requirements.
Okay. Another question is, how is Brandboom different from other like platforms when it comes to the connecting of the buyer and the brands?
I think hopefully the Connect presentation, or the description of the marketplace said a little bit, but I think we do it differently because we don't see it as just this open. I think there are two forms that we've seen anyway of other platforms, marketplaces around B2B marketplaces. One is the open platform, call it the Alibaba sort of style, where it's a seller would just upload all their stuff on there and anyone can just go in and search and buy from that. The second model, which is a little bit tighter and a little bit better, is potentially where brands would be listed on a particular marketplace, and then a buyer has to request access, and then the brand can say, yes, you can look at all my stuff, or vice versa. And it's basically like a directory, an address book of brands. Our way is, I think, different, definitely, in that we use the AI to match people together. And I think that's a real strength because we kind of do a lot of the hard work for both the sellers and the buyers. And we also, as I said, don't charge an ongoing commission as well, which is great for brands because a $40 or $50 investment could end up being years of and tens of thousands of dollars of worth of profit. So that's good for everyone.
Okay, I have a couple questions about the cost to join the platform. So how does that work? Is there scale for large brands or small brands?
Yeah, of course. So we start all the way from a free or freemium plan, which it gives you a lot of access to the system. So you will be able to see everything in Brandboom that you need to understand how we work and how easy or difficult it is to use. We like to think it's easy, but of course, it's all sorts of causes on that. But yeah, there is a free plan that lets you upload products, create a line sheet, and do those basic things. We also allow on the free plan up to 3 orders per month. So you can try it, and if you start getting orders, then you can start paying for the service. Now, we do have stock standard on our website pricing per seat. There's a startup plan for $79 per month, or a business plan for $149 per month, and this is per user, as I said. And it comes with varying degrees of extra features and more capability as you go up and up and up. We also have annual plans, which give you a discount on the subscription fee. But we do understand that, some people have businesses with 5, 10, 15, 30, 50 users. We have those sorts of clients. And if there is, a custom requirement, feel free to reach out to myself, or obviously you'll more than likely be speaking to an account manager first, and they'll speak to me about working something out for your brand. So we definitely are happy to have that discussion, but that's more on a ad hoc basis because of the custom nature of a lot of those requirements.
Great. Are there any categories that you've seen perform better than others, or some that maybe haven't worked so well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. So with the platform itself, really anybody, it's B2B, anybody who has any product to sell. We've had everything from clothing, obviously, to car parts, to other products. Yeah, there's some wild stuff that's on there. Now that's just for the platform itself, and we don't care because they're your customers that you work with, and you can sell them whatever you want. In terms of the marketplace, for sure, apparel is our strongest category. We do really, really well on menswear, but we also do very well on women's wear as well. Kids wear is an extremely strong category for Brandboom. The kids and children's wear and accessories for children's does very well with us. And we've recently started to see accessories doing well. And we don't have a magic formula for that. I can't tell you whether it's cheap or mid-priced or expensive. We're actually seeing a lot of it in general. We also did something that I will touch on very shortly. This presentation deck is nearly finished, but I was going to talk about it, is that we do work with a handful of trade shows as well, providing them with trade show platform facilities. We actually took on Melee, the show, or Melee the marketplace, as they called it, with the digital version with us. And that's a very much a mid to high priced luxury jewelry accessories show recently. And I think they did quite well from that. So we've actually seen quite an increase of jewelry customers with us. And, you know, we were able to handle most of the options and things that jewelries come with, obviously with different bands, different metals, all those sorts of things. We were actually able to handle that quite well for them. So yeah, we see mainly those categories. Home goods and things, you know, we have some customers on, I wouldn't say that's our strongest suit, but we actually do have, you know, some buyers on the platform using that. And then there's obviously the miscellaneous, which is, you know, car parts and, you know, other things as well. So yeah.
That's pretty crazy. You go all over
Yeah.
categories. Well, that kind of exhausts the questions. I have one more. I didn't go in the Q&A. Oh, okay. Here's a question. For the free plan, is Connect also a part of it? Would you recommend that for a startup brand?
Absolutely. Yeah. So Connect is available for free plans. There's no monthly subscription or anything to join it. If you do collect an order using Connect, then you'll just pay for that when the order comes through. So as in our, you know,
Introduction.
So yeah, it is free to use and free to try Connect and free to, you know, do everything with it. So yeah, it's how a lot of brands have actually started with this, especially this year, where they've, you know, tried it for a couple of months and then they start collecting orders, and then, oh great, you know, this is working for me, I'm going to pay for my, you know, monthly subscription. And we're more than happy with that for you to use the system that way.
Great. Okay.
So,
I think I've answered all the questions. Now, I've recorded this session, so we'll be able to share it with everyone who attended. And also, you know, if you want to share it with a colleague or someone who you think might be interested, you can feel free to pass that along. And we'll also send contact information for the Brandboom team, so you can get in touch with them directly. There is another question. I'm going to toss it in. Is there an option for customization for highly customized products?
I might need more detail as to what you mean on that, but yes,
Yeah.
there is customization. So I'll wait for that question.
If whoever asked anonymously, so if you want to give me a little more background, we'll aim to answer that one for you.
Can I just touch on something? Sorry, I just had one more thing I wanted to show.
Yeah, of course.
If my deck is still there, but we had, obviously I talked about, you know, us being customer first, but 9 out of 10 buyers we surveyed actually love us. And I just wanted to show you why. It's because of this, which this is from one of our trade shows, but we use this format across the whole platform for buyers. So we call this the Biofeed. And we designed this to look kind of like Instagram. So it's something that's familiar to everyone. And we understand that a lot of buyers, we get a bit of pushback in Europe, especially the UK, where they don't like to look at anything that's not, you know, paper and pen and things like that. So it's familiar. And when we're trying to convert people to things, we go, well, what's familiar? What actually works, right? So this Instagram format is what we use for the buyer feed, especially in Connect, is where you'll see the most prominent usage of this, apart from trade shows. And you can see on these cards that you get a little bit of a preview of the brand. You can look at some of their pictures and, you know, some of their description and say, hey, I'd like to shop this. And then you can click in, and then, as you know, it'll click into one of those line sheets that Carl showed you, and you can place your orders through that. Since we introduced this sort of format, we've seen sales increase by about 33%. from the marketplace, which is, you know, a great result. Sales also happen 3 times faster. So buyers are actually looking at this and going, oh, I want to order quicker, which is also great as well. So I did want to mention that because, you know, it's all well and good that we have all these things that, you know, helps you to upload products and helps you to, you know, manage inventory, and it's great for you to make your life easier, but it counts for nothing unless the buyer at the end of it, who's the one actually using it and using it to purchase from you, enjoys their experience. And we spend a lot of time and a lot of effort to research and go through this methodology, and buyers enjoy it. You know, it's really, really easy, it's familiar, and something that lets them, you know, I guess, explore and scroll like they would with Instagram. So I just did want to mention that because it is really, really important for your buyers or any buyers who might potentially be on this call, seeing how easy it is to use. So yeah, I think I saw some of the questions potentially come in. So
Let's see, there's a couple more that popped up in the chat. Okay, we have over 500 SKUs, but then up to 4,500 customization options per SKU. Is there a way to insert a PDF on the product page and require customers to list a customization name and number in the mandatory field? That's a lot of customization, girl.
Yeah. Probably
Carl
jewelry.
deals with this more. Carl, can you?
Yeah. So for that many customizations, I don't think there's any platform built currently that would be able to handle that many variations. However, on the ordering form itself, the buyers are able to, if you were to include a PDF or a PNG or a JPEG within the presentation of the different customization numbers, customization names, they can actually write on the note on their order form saying, for the products I place in this order, can I have customization 1, 7, and 11? And they could just write that, type that in on the order form. So that's something that I think would be the best way to address that many variations on a particular SKU.
Yeah, I mean, unless it's something advanced in like a SAP system or something like that.
Yeah.
Capability. I haven't seen 4,500, but that is very impressive.
Yeah.
In terms of the numbers.
Yeah. Are there training sessions available for the free package?
Yes. So we have multiple tools available for customers, and it's available to everyone, whether you're paid or free. So when you sign up, you're more than likely to receive an email anyway from an account manager, and you can reach out to them and arrange a training session. We also have a really, really good knowledge base that has introductory videos. I like to think they're good because I voiced part of them. So, you know, I think I hopefully did a good job with doing some of the training sessions. People seem to like the Australian accent thing or whatever, I don't know. But yeah, with those videos, you have step-by-step, this is how you create a product. This is how you create a presentation. They're really helpful just to get you started. But of course, you can speak to account managers to, you know, get more advanced help and things like that. When you sign up, you'll also notice that on the bottom right of your screen, you'll see a little chat icon. And between the hours of 7 a.m. PST to about 6 p.m., you know, depending on the day, we usually have support reps available. And that's part of our customer focus on customer first thing. So if you're really stuck and you're like, can't get onto my account manager, I can't find something in our knowledge base, just chat into our support, and they're really, really great with helping people and, you know, giving you the right advice as to how to do things. So yeah, you've got many options in terms of help.
Great. Okay, another question. When you work with online trade shows, do you offer it to your existing brand base? Would there be a fee, and do you promote?
Okay, so with trade shows, that's up to the trade show what they're charging. So we don't charge any extra on our end. We obviously have a deal with the particular trade show in question. If you've got any, you know, that you currently work with that you'd like to see go digital, please feel free to send to us and we'll speak to those trade shows. I think we're up to about 10 now, and they've all gone really well. You know, again, in the spirit of transparency, we want to see everyone succeed in this. And if we overprice things, both on the trade show end and both to you guys, then no one's going to have any success on this because of, you know, cost cutting and pandemic and stuff. So yeah, we've been lucky that the trade shows we've worked with have agreed to, you know, keep their costs very, very competitive and very fair in the marketplace. That's what we encourage that. And so, yeah, if you need a list of trade shows, we have them on our Instagram and on our website. Yeah, we work with currently about 10, and the list is growing. And you know, our aim is to make sure that we can get as many as possible, because if you know you're part of multiple trade shows and you have one Brandboom subscription, then it's great for you because you're not paying any more to be part of these.
Great. Okay, I think we caught up on our questions.
Okay. Excellent.
Any last thoughts? We got a lot covered. All right. Well, I thank everyone for joining. I thank for your time, and we'll look forward to seeing our Accessory Council team very soon, I hope. And we'll connect you with Brandboom if you have any questions. So thank you very much, gentlemen. And thank you again, everyone, for joining. And we'll look forward to seeing you soon.
Thanks for having us.
Bye.
Thanks, Karen. Bye.
Bye.